Very good evening, all of you. Hope you all are doing well. Let's start with today's session. Quick recap of last session. In the last session, we started with Tkinter library. We discussed about what is Tkinter library. Using this Python inbuilt library, we can create GUI applications, standalone desktop applications. GUI applications means which are having window, and then you can put widgets in it. That is visual components, UI elements, and elements like menu, buttons, text boxes, combo box, list box, and all. And using that, we can create UI. When your application run, it shows you the window. It is waiting for you to do the interaction. When the user does the interaction, we say event occur. Your application will respond to the event. And again, it will wait for next event. Okay? And why it is called as Tkinter. That too I told you. Little bit history about that. So it is originated from TCL language, tool control language. And in that language, there was one GUI toolkit called TK. And this Tkinter is just a wrapper over that TK. Okay. Then we saw first Tkinter application, just simple window we created. And we saw how after running it looks. Life cycle I told you. First, you have to import the library, then create your main window, then create your widgets, then decide its placement called a geometry manager, and then put your application in main loop. Okay. Now in today's session, we are going to discuss about geometry manager. Little bit about this I told you last time. Okay. When we created one label in that first application, if you remember, we imported the library, then we created main window. Main window is always a object of TK class. TK is one class, and your main window is always the object of this TK class, which is in that Tkinter library. So we created the main window. Then we have set the title, its dimension of the main window. Then we created one widget, that is label widget. And when you create any widget, you have to tell the parent of it. The parent is your main window. Okay. Then some properties of that widget like text, the font and all. And last time I told you, only putting that widget in the main window is not sufficient. You have to set its geometry manager. And geometry manager decides the placement of your component within the main window. So we decided geometry manager place. Okay? Sorry, place me. We took pack, I guess. First time I showed you that is pack. And there I gave y pad. Remember padding in the pad y pad, pad y. I think I gave some 50 or something. So whenever you use pack, automatic the widgets are occupying the space which is there. So by default it will get stick to the top. Widget by default is attached to the top, and from top it will leave some 50 position. Okay? I'd shown you all this last time. See, it created a widget, then created a main window, and then that widget is by default stick to the top. And from top, 50 pixel position it has left this way. Now, as I go on adding the next widget, they will just get placed one above another. It is getting like stacked. So another widget is stick below this, like that. Okay, so if you want, it should get stick to the left side or right side or bottom. So bottom means it will get stacked one above another in this way. Here it is getting stacked downward side. So many things are there. One by one we will learn. And can you see putting in main loop is very important, because when you put in main loop, then only it will wait for you to do interaction. Main loop is actually listening to the event. It is waiting for you to do the interaction. It is waiting for the event, and it will detect the event, react for the event, and again wait for the next event. So it is like a loop and fetching the events from the queue. And for each event, it is doing reaction. Okay? And if your queue is empty, means there is no interaction happening with the application, then application goes into dormant state. It is just passive. It is not terminated. It is just passive. It is not taking CPU attention. And the moment again interactions start happening, your application will again wake up and start fetching the events, react to the event. Now, mainly we have to discuss first about geometry manager, and then one by one each widgets we will discuss. So geometry manager is very important. It decides the position and the size of your widget within the main window. Getting? Means in your main window, where is your widget going to get placed? Its size, that is the width, the height, and the position. Position means the location where that element will be placed, the X and the Y coordinate. And what is the size of your widget? All this thing, who decides? Geometry manager. Okay. So geometry manager decides the placement, decides the size of your widget within the main window. If you don't set geometry manager, then it will not show the component. Means the widgets are created. Widgets are added also in the main window, but they are not visible unless and until you set their geometry manager. Get it? So geometry manager's job is to do the placement within the component. In real life, if you say like when you go to a restaurant and if it is a crowded restaurant, right? So when you go at the entry, there's one manager who takes your name and then how many people he puts it into one waiting list. And as and when the table becomes empty, he calls that person and then he decides this customer should go on which table. So that manager's job is what? Placement of customers at the appropriate place within the restaurant. Same way, exact same analogy, this geometry manager does. It decides where your component will be placed within the parent window. Okay, so it is responsible for the placement, the position, the dimension of each widget within your main window. In short, it does the arrangement of your widgets within the main window. Okay, so there are different types of geometry manager. Means in Tkinter library, they have provided three geometry manager. One is pack, one is place, one is grid. All three one by one we will discuss. All three with an example I'll give you demonstration. And once the geometry managers are clear, then we can start learning each widgets one by one. Okay? Widgets means UI component or user interface element, visual component with which the user is going to do interaction. Okay? So, a geometry manager in Tkinter is a mechanism that controls the size and position of widget inside the window or frame. Frame or window is the main window. So, inside your main window, where your components will be placed, their position, their size, everything is decided by geometry manager. So, as I told, in the crowded restaurant, when you go, so at the entry, there is a manager. He decides according to the number of people you have, the number of customers, those who have come, and according to the availability of the table vacant, he accordingly guides you that if you have four people, then please go here, go there. So he is responsible for placing the customers on the appropriate tables within the hotel or within that restaurant. Getting? So that is one example, an analogy I'm telling. So here also the geometry manager is deciding where your widgets will be placed within your main window. Okay. So Geometry Manager decides where a widget should appear and how much space it should occupy. If you have not set the Geometry Manager, it will not display the widgets within the main window. Irrespective, the widget is created. It is added also in the parent window, but the widget is not visible. Without a geometry manager, widgets are created, but they are not displayed. If you want, I'll put this in a comment. See, I'm putting this part in a comment. I'm making, I'm not setting only the geometry manager of this label widget. So parent window is created. The widget is also created. Label is a UI component. It is a visual element. It's a widget that is added in the root, but you have not told the geometry manager of this. So when you run the application, see, the window is created, but is the widget visible? No. The widget is also created. The widget is gone also in the parent window, but it is not made visible unless and until you set its geometry manager. Getting like small kids when they go to kindergarten. So there also you can see one attendant is there, and that attendant takes that kid inside from the gate, uh, just holds the finger, and then she takes that kid inside, and then that attendant decides where that kid should sit on which bench. So she guides there and go and sit on that bench. So what is the job of that attendant? Placing kids on the appropriate bench within that classroom, right? So I hope you got it. So there are three types of geometry manager. All one by one we will discuss. The first is pack. Okay, pack generally gets stick to that boundary where the space is. By default, it sticks to the top, and then all the next widgets get stacked one above it. So by default, if it sticks to the top, so next widget when you add, it will get stacked one above another, one below another, or one above another, or one besides another. Get it? And you can stretch it also. Means you can tell it that please occupy the whole space in that direction. Okay. Then we have grid. Grid is very useful in case of creating proper data entry screens and all if you want to make. If you want to create a proper standalone database application, grid will be very useful. Grid places the widgets according to row number, column number. Means in grid, you have to tell that place it at row 1, column 5, or row 7, column 2, row 0, column 0. That way the widgets are placed. And places the widget at the absolute location. Means you have to tell the exact location that 50 pixel from left and 50 pixels from top. So it will take 50 pixels from left, 50 pixels from top, and there it will place the widget. Getting? And then you can even tell how much width, how much height. This is more absolute, exact. Okay? Exact locations you can tell using place geometry. So these are three different algorithms only of placement. Getting? Different policies of placement. All three are following different policies of placing widgets within the main window. Okay? Now all one by one we will discuss. The first one we are going to discuss, that is pack. Okay, to pack, what it does automatically sticks the widget at that direction where the space is. So by default, it sticks the widget to the top, and next widget will automatically get stacked above it, one above another. And if you want to tell that please stick to the left side or right side or bottom, then you can pass parameters to it. When you pass the parameter, it will get stick to that side. Okay. So if you give bottom, so it will stick to the bottom. The next component, when you go on adding, it will get stacked one above another. Now in that you can tell to stretch also in either X direction or Y direction or both direction. Okay. So I'll tell you how to stretch, how to tell that take which side, left side or right side or top side or bottom side. Okay. So how to do all that? There are different parameters to it that one by one we'll discuss. So it organizes widgets by placing them against the available space in specific direction. Means in your window where the space is available, that time with that space it starts occupying. Getting? So by default, as I said, your widget will be stick to the top. So here the widget is attached. Okay. Now next widget will automatic take this next space, which is available below it. So below it, then you want a spacing between them, then you can set the spacing. You want to tell that please stretch in X direction. So it will stretch in this direction. If you want to tell stretch in vertical direction, so it will stretch in that direction. So that it will occupy this remaining space. So if you tell stretch in X direction, so it will stretch here. Okay, right? So I hope you're understanding. Now, what these arguments are that I'll tell you. Think of pack as stacking books on a shelf. Like in shelf, sometimes your shelf is like this, that you are keeping the book and then above that you keep the book. Sometimes you shelf it like this also, no? Besides, slanted books are kept and one besides another. This way also is there. Getting? So it depends how you're keeping the books. Exact same technique. So think of pack as stacking books on shelf. Each new widget is placed relative to the remaining available space, which I told you, no, just now. Initially, it gets stick to the top. So next widget will take the remaining space. They get stacked one above another. Okay. Then the syntax. Whichever widget, it's not only label. It can be button. It can be text box. It can be combo box, list box. Any UI component. Whichever UI component you want to put within the main window. That widget you will create already. That is already added in the parent. With this, you're only setting its placement. Okay, so widget.pack, and there are some options. Options means these are all parameters. What all different parameters are there? We will learn one by one. One is that is side. By default, it is top. By default, when you don't give that side, okay, widget.pack, and when I don't give any side, by default, it is stick to the top. See, specifies where to place the widget. Okay, whether to stick on the top side or bottom or left or right, that is decided by the side. And when you don't give it, by default, it is top, which was happening in this application, right? But suppose here if I give side equal to tk dot, because these all are constants, huh? This capital, what I've written, top, bottom, left, right, these are all constant values in your TK library. So you just have to access that way. TK dot bottom. Okay. And now you can see that label will be stick to the bottom. See, as it is stick to the bottom, but you have given pad y 50. So it is leaving y space. How much? This is that y space. 50 pixel y space. When you don't give that, it is directly stick to the bottom. See, getting? Is it stick to the bottom? So from the boundary and the widget, this is the boundary and this is the widget. There should be some space between them. Okay. So that space you can decide by pad y. Okay. And same way, like instead of bottom, if you give left or right, right? Now, when you give side equal to left, then pad y is of no use. Okay. See. Why? Because it is stick to which side? Left side. The widget is stick to the left side. So there is a padding of X. X padding should be there. Y padding doesn't make any meaning in this case. Okay, so here you can give some spacing that you can give it by pad X. Everything is on geometry. Okay, see here. Is it leaving some 50 pixel from the left? This is X direction. This is Y direction. Always remember, vertical is Y, horizontal is X. So in X direction, 50 pixels are left. Okay, so you can tell accordingly which side to stick. Then fill, meaning you're telling that take which space, whatever remaining space is there. So fill makes widget expand, X or Y or both. Now, suppose for example, I am not giving side. So where is this side by default set? On the top. Okay. And suppose I give fill and tk dot fill X. So X direction, whatever remaining place is there, it will occupy. Now we are not able to identify it because the color is same. If you want, you can give some BG color to this widget. Okay, there's one property called BG. BG and background, one and the same thing. If you want to use background word, you can use BG word, you can use. And if you have some standard colors, you can give. Okay, like I'm giving yellow. But if you want some other color, then you can do mixing of RGB combination. RGB means red, green, blue. Combination you can create as a hexadecimal value and give that as well. See. So now by default, the side is top. So it is stick to the top side, isn't it? From top 50 pixel. And you have told fill in which direction? X. So in X direction, whatever space was there in both sides, that also it has occupied and it has expanded in X direction. Okay. Suppose I give fill Y. Check how it works. It doesn't. So why? Because it is stick to the top. It will fill Y when it is stick to the left or right. Then it will take this Y space. Left or right, then it will take Y space. Top or bottom, it will take X space. Getting? So if you still want it should get expanded, then that expand equal to true you have to give. By default, when you stick to top or bottom, it will occupy X space. And left or right, then it will occupy which space? The vertical space. Suppose I'm giving side equal to left, tk dot left. Left in double quote also is valid, or this constant also you can write. Both allowed, huh? How provision they have done. See. Now can you see? As it is left, it is stick to the left. It can fill which direction? Y. As it is, you have given tk dot left to stick to the left. So fill will occupy which space? Y space. So Y space. But now you can see here Y because pad Y 50 you have given. Now in this case, pad X, if you take, see, it is expanded in Y direction, and from here, how much space is left? 50. Okay. So generally, if it is top or bottom, then it will fill in X direction. And if it is left or right, then it will fill in Y direction. And both, if you want to fill, then you have to give expand equal to true as well. I'll tell you. See, expand allows widget to occupy extra available space, meaning you're getting top and bottom are available, are allowed to expand in which direction? X direction. And left and right are allowed to expand in Y direction. So still they want to take the X direction space also. Then make expand equal to true. Getting? Normal, this widget is allowed as it is stick to which side? Left side. As it is left side, it is allowed to expand this way. If it is stick to top, then it is allowed to expand in X direction. Left or right are allowed to expand in Y direction. But still I want that X direction space also. Then use that expand equal to true. Getting? And expand equal to true and then give both. Instead of left, you have to give both. But remember, when you use both, you have to give expand equal to true because both is available only when expand is true. Because normally when top and bottom, then you can only expand in which direction? X direction. Left and right, you can expand in Y direction. But in both direction, if you want to expand, then expand equal to what you have to give. True. Okay. See, if you want, I'll give you like this. Like I'll keep it top only by default. Okay. And I'm telling fill in both the direction. Is it expanding in both direction? No, because the side is what? By default, the side is, according to this placement, default the side is top. So top is allowed to expand, may take the space in X direction. So it has taken, but pad X I gave, no? Therefore, here the space is left. If I give pad Y, the space from top will come. ठीक है? So standard, though I gave fill equal to tk dot both, it is not getting expanded in both the direction. It will take only which direction space? X. Because the side is top. Top and bottom are only allowed to expand in X. Left and right are allowed to expand in Y direction. And now this space also you want to occupy. Then you have to give expand equal to true. ठीक है? Can check. Is it expanding in both direction now? Because when you give both, you have to give true. Both direction. Now you'll say why this space is left because you have given pad y as 50. And in this, if you give both pad x also, okay, pad x also as 50. So all four sides you will get some space. Okay, so that way the combinations. Can you see? X padding also it has done 50 and Y padding also it has done 50. And in both direction it has expanded because TK is both. But by giving TK equal to both, it will expand in both direction unless and until expand is true. If expand is not made true and still you give both, it will not expand, guys. It will only expand according to its side. Whatever is its side, top or bottom, allowed to expand in X. Left and right are allowed to expand in Y. So it will expand in that direction only. Irrespective, you give both or you don't give. See, you give expand both or ठीक है? It is only stretching in which direction, guys? In X direction only it will stretch because the side is top. So allowed to stretch only in X direction. Getting? So if you want, it should occupy this vertical space also. Then you have to make that expand flag as true. The moment you make expand flag as true, it will occupy the vertical space as well. Okay? So I hope you got it. And these two things are for telling how much space is to be left uh, in X and Y. Spacing between one widget and another widget. Like if this is placed one below another or one above another. One below another or one above another. So in that case, pad Y is there. So this spacing is called as pad Y. The spacing between one widget and another widget. That is called as pad Y. And if it is left or right, then your widgets are going to get placed one besides another like this because it is stick to the left. The next widget is placed one beside. So the spacing between the boundary and the first widget and the second widget, that spacing is called as pad X. Getting? So I hope you're understanding pad X, pad Y. That is the spacing between one widget and another widget. Horizontal space or vertical space. That is pad X, pad Y. Okay, we'll take an example. You'll come to know more in detail. But the basic parameters are clear to you. I'll take one. I'll take one example. You'll come to know more better. But are the parameters clear? The side part. Side means which side to stick, left, right, or top, bottom. Then which side to expand, whether to take the X space or Y space or both space. Then expand flag, okay, and pad X and pad Y. Okay, guys. So can you give me confirmation?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. I'll take an example in which we will make use of pack. Okay. See here. First, what I've done is uh, import is the standard one. Then I created main window. Is this the main window? Main window is the object of TK class. And TK class is in this Tkinter library. So you created an object of TK class. You have set the title. You have set geometry. Okay. And then you're creating first widget. What I'm doing is I'm not collecting the reference of that widget because I don't need them. I just want to put this widget in the main window. This widget I just want to create and put it in the main window. I currently I'm not going to handle any event with it, no interaction and all. Just I want to show the placement. Therefore, I'm creating a label widget, tk.label. So label widget is created. It is added in your parent window. You have to tell the parent. No? So parent window it is added. The text of that widget is top. The background color of that widget is light blue. And immediately after the widget is created, till here the object of label is created. Till here the object of this label class created. Many times what you do, you collect it in some variable and then you write L1 dot pack in this way. Why? Because later you may need this objects for event handling and all. Therefore, you can collect and store their reference. Object of label created. You got the reference and then you are setting its geometry manager. But later we need this L1 somewhere in the code. In this example, I don't need it. Here I just want to create a widget and show its placement. Therefore, immediately what I'm doing, I'm creating a label widget and that label widget only is calling its pack method to decide the placement. So by default, anyway, it is going to stick to the top only. Anyway, it is going to stick to the top. So there was no need to tell that please stick to the top. Side equal to top is default. Then the spacing, the vertical space and the horizontal. So horizontal space means you got no? This space, boundary space. This widget is created. Okay, what will be written in that widget? Top. What will be the background color? Light blue. But this spacing is 10 pixel 10 and this vertical spacing is 10 pixel 10 pixel. So if I place another widget in that side only, In that side only another widget. So there will be 10 pixel space between one widget and the second. From the window boundary and the first widget, there will be 10. Okay? So that is done. And you're telling please occupy which direction space? X direction. So it will stretch complete in X direction. Complete X direction. But still it will not stick to the boundary. From the boundary, there will be 10 pixel, 10 pixel. Why? Because we have told pad X 10. So X side, there will be 10 pixel and vertical spacing will be 10 pixel. Okay. So this part is clear. I hope this first part is clear. Okay. Then one more widget I have created. Again, one more label I created. Again, the text of that is bottom. The color is yellow. And again, the manager is pack manager only. But we have told stick to which side? Bottom. So again, in this case, that widget will be stick to the bottom. It will be bottom. Okay. And how much spacing will be there? 10, 10, x, y direction 10, x 10. Okay. And here also we have told fill in x direction. So will it stretch in x direction? But till where it will stretch? Directly it will stick to the boundary or will it leave some 10 pixel from the boundary? From the boundary 10 pixel it will leave because we have written pad x 10 and vertical spacing will be 10. Okay. And one more widget you have created and that you have stick to the left side. See carefully. Yeah? So one on the top has come here, one at the bottom has come. Now one more I've set, that is one more widget I'm creating. Its text is left, color is light green, and the side is which side? Left. So will that widget get stick to the left side? It will stick to the left side. And I'm telling fill Y. So will it fill in Y? Will it stretch in Y direction? But till where? Because this is already stretched till X, right or no? So this is already stretched in X direction. So till where that widget is, it will stretch only till there. Okay? So stick to the left and stretch in Y direction. Fill equal to Y. And it is stretching in its natural side only. Left and right are allowed to stretch in Y. Top and bottom are allowed to stretch in X. But still it is stick to top. It is allowed to stretch in X, but still I want to stretch in Y also. Then you have to give fill both. But only giving fill both won't work till you don't write expand equal to true. Please remember, unless and until you give expand equal to true, it will not fill in which direction? Both the direction. Okay, so what I'll do, some more widgets I'm creating. So one is at the top, one is at the bottom left. Then see, I'm creating one more. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm creating one more widget. Now that will be stick to the right side. Okay, so one at the top is created, one at the bottom, one at the left. But as we have said, stretch in y direction, so like this. This is also one more at the right. And here also we have told expand in y direction and stick right. Okay. And the label of this is right, label of this is left, label of this is top, label of this is bottom. And one more widget I'm creating. Okay. The text is center, the color is red. Okay. And see, when we have not told side, to which side it will stick by default? Can anyone tell me? The last one, fifth one, which I'm creating. One more widget is created with the label center, background red. But can you tell me in which direction this widget will stick by default? Can anyone tell me? By default, it will stick to which side? When we don't give side, it takes which side as default?
The top.
Top, very good. So this new widget will stick to the top. New widget, whatever you have done, it will stick to the top. So already there is a widget at top. So just below that, this new widget will come. Okay. And to this new widget, X spacing and Y spacing, you have given what 2020. And can you see? You have told please stretch in both direction. Okay. But ideally, as the side is not given, it is going to stick to the top. So it can stretch only in which direction? X direction. If you want, it should stretch in both the direction. Give both, but only giving both won't do. In that case, expand equal to true, you have to write. Expand equal to true when you want to use the remaining space of the other direction also, which is not allowed. Actually, top and left are allowed to expand in X, but suppose they want Y space also, then you have to give expand equal to true and fill equal to both. So for this last one, I'm giving fill equal to both and expand equal to true. So it will expand in both the direction. So in all four direction, already the widgets are there. So whatever space is remaining in between, all space this widget will occupy. Getting the whole space who is going to take this, but it will not go and stick to this all four because you have given pad x pad y 20. So here in the y direction 20 and x direction 20. So that much 20 pixels will be left and the entire remaining space who will take this last widget. Getting and the last widget I've created button. Not necessarily all should be label or all should be button. It depends. We just want to learn the geometry manager. See, the output will be like this. Getting? So already when we get top and fill equal to x, it has stretched in x direction. Then I wrote this one. Order very important. Huh? First this, then this. Then this is also going to expand in x direction. Then I added left. Left is allowed to expand in y direction. So it has expanded till there is a space. So here the hurdle is there, right or no? Here the hurdle till there it has expanded. And right is also allowed to expand in y direction. So it has expanded till there is a space because you have given that pad x pad y. No? So that spacing is also kept. And then the remaining place is given to this button. Actually, this button is stick to the top by default because the side is not given. Side not given, so it is going to get uh, placed, stacked. You call it as stacked above what? This top. So it is stacked above that. But you have told that fill both the direction. But when you are occupying both, you have to give expand equal to true. So expand true, fill both. So it will take the whole remaining space in both the direction. Whole space it has taken. Only this is the boundary spacing. That is pad x, pad y. That much spacing it has kept. And remaining whatever space is there is getting expanded in both the direction. Getting? So this way you will get the UI. Getting guys? See here, we'll create that application. Tkinter demo2.py. I'll give. Some part I'll keep same instead of writing again. This whole thing I'll keep it as it is. Okay. Title if you want to give like pack manager demo. It is pack. Okay. First widget I'm going to create one label, right? tk.label. Then parent is root. Text you can give. Text I'm giving as top, right? Background color I'll give BG equal to whatever you want. It's not necessary the same. Some standard colors are there that you can use directly. Okay. Suppose you want this yellow in that constant form. So tk dot. Okay. It's not there. So you have to use that string form only. And then immediately I'm calling its pack method. Pack this way, pack. And then it is by default anyway stick to the top only. So no need to give side, isn't it? You can just tell the spacing, that is pad x, pad y. Is it necessary to tell the side? No. By default, the side is top. Only expand in which direction that you can give by fill. Spacing I'll give pad x 10, pad y 10, and fill in which direction? In x direction. Okay? Then similarly, suppose I'm creating one more widget. I'm not just collecting their reference. Widget is getting created. I'm not collecting the reference because I don't need it in this application. In this application, I just want to show you the placements, how the placements are done. Okay. Now top, next I'll take bottom. But when it is bottom, you have to tell the side because default the side is top. Here you have to tell the side as tk dot bottom. Directly string also you can write bottom. They have given, see how the VI editor, sorry, this VS code is. As we added that Python plugin, automatic all facilities it starts showing you. Okay, so this way string you can write, or you can write tk dot bottom. Such constant you can give. Okay, you're also padding and fill in x direction. This is also in x direction only because bottom is allowed to expand in x direction and left and right are allowed to expand in y direction. So one more I'm creating. Label, parent is root, text I'll give as left, then background color we will give, some other color we'll give. Both yellow is not, all four colors you want to show different. So here, if you want black, white, gray, pink, magenta, any other, cyan is there that you can use. Dot pack, side, I'm going to give tk dot left. Okay, pad x 10, pad y 10. Here also I'm giving padding 10 and 10. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll give fill equal to tk dot which direction? Y direction. This is allowed to expand in Y direction. Same way, one more widget I'll create. Instead of left, I'll give right. Background same, and then the direction I'll give right. And here the fill is again Y. Same. Okay? And the last widget I'm going to create that is center. Okay. Text text equal to center. Color if you want BG color. Again, here the same colors are there, no? Magenta. Then instead of that, you can take cyan color. So many are there. Okay. So yellow, pink, magenta, cyan, and red I'll take. Dot pack. Now in this case, no need to tell side. Is it right? Because anyway, I have to put it in the center. So no need to tell side. It will stick to the top only. Because by default, the side is top. So it will stick to the top. And if it is top and I tell fill, it can only expand in X direction. You want both. Then you have to tell accordingly what fill both direction, tk dot both. Okay. But when you're filling in both direction, it will work only when expand is true. Okay, that's all. Maybe it is not exact like what I've given on the slide. Okay, there I have given here also some padding. So not necessary because already here the padding is given. It will take that padding space only. And then put in main loop, root dot main loop. Okay, Tkinter demo 2. Can you see? And all label only I've taken. In my example, here I've shown button. You can try taking button also. All these widgets we are going to learn. Don't worry. Each and every widget one by one. See, the middle one is button. Therefore, when I press, it gets pressed because it's a button. The remaining are not. How they are occupying the space you got. And if you don't give this pad, you'll not see this spacing. Understanding? Okay. You're able to see the spacing because of that. Now, you can try like don't give spacing, uh, give only Y spacing for top and bottom and X spacing for left and right. So this will come exactly stick here. Getting? Like for top and bottom, only give pad Y, don't give pad X. Okay, check it. And for left and right, give pad X, don't give pad Y. So you will see the perfect widgets are placed in four direction and the remaining place who is taking center. Okay, so just give me quick confirmation so that we can move to the next geometry manager. We have to learn the other next geometry, all the geometry managers. If we don't complete, then we cannot start with the widgets one by one. Okay.
Sir,
Yes,
geometry background color, uh, the whole screen window color.
That also you can change. Now. That is for this one. Root you have to give. So root dot configure. There's whenever you want to set any parameter, set any attribute. It can be foreground color, background color, dimension, and all of any widget later. You have to use configure. Getting like this root dot configure, and what you want to configure that you can pass. Like you want to configure background. So background equal to and whichever color like you want to give white, you can give. Can you see? This area is filled with white color. You can try with black. So many things we are going to learn. Don't worry. Okay, and lot things you have to explore also. Everything spoon feeding I cannot do. So the main concepts I'll be telling. Then related to that, lot of things you can explore and find out. Can you see the back? This configure is not only for root. It is applicable for all widgets. Any widget whose attribute you want to modify later, then you have to call configure and which attribute you want to configure that you can pass. So I want to configure its background color. Therefore, this. You can change the foreground color also. Now see, somewhere I've used BG, somewhere I use background. They both are same. They actually represent same thing. Okay? Still, it represents the same thing. Okay? Chalo. Now we will move to the next manager, that is grid. Grid is assumed to be the very simplest because here the placement is done according to row number, column number. Okay, so easy way they have done. You just have to give the row number and the column number. Accordingly, the widgets are getting placed. And here also you can give spacing between one widget and another. Okay, you want to give the spacing between one widget and another. Horizontal spacing also and vertical spacing also. So pad X, pad Y is there. And where to place that widget, you give it by row number, column number. Row number start with 0, column number also start with 0. Getting? That way the concept is. So grid method, how it does. Okay? Just I forgot to give animation to it. Sorry. Okay, see here. The grid method organizes the widgets in tabular form. Tabular means rows and column form. So whenever you're placing the widget, widget dot grid. So round bracket, who is going to call this method? That widget which is setting its geometry manager. So whichever widget is setting its geometry manager, that widget has to call it. So you have to pass the row number and the column number. Exactly at that row column, the widget is placed. Correct? It is like this is best, you can say, the attendant in the movie theater. Previously, now nowadays we are already smart enough, we are already educated, so we know it on the ticket. If it is written L12, so you go to line number L and in that 12 number seat. Previously, one person used to be there as the attendant and he used to guide. We used to show the ticket. I don't know where you people, you're too young people, like in our time, the one person used to be there with a torch and then we used to show the ticket and then he used to guide that go upstairs and then right side or in the first row, second row, or sometimes he used to take also to that place and make us sit. So what he's doing, he is placing the customers, you can say like the people, viewers who have come to watch the movie in the appropriate seat in that hall. But all the seats in that hall are in the tabular form only, no? In the rows and column form. Getting? So we are getting placed at the particular row number, column number. Same. So we can specify the rows and columns as the options in the method call. Which method call? Grid. Okay. This is more organized way to place the widget. More clean and very elegant it looks if you are placing it with grid, especially when you create data entry screens and all. Suppose you have created any standalone database application for any organization, right? And the screens are coming for doing the data entry and all. So those screens, if you design using grid, it looks more clean way. See here, whichever widget which you want to place using this manager, you have to write widget.grid and pass the options. Now, what those options are, I'll give you, in which basically two are fixed, that is row and column, and two more are there, that is pad x, pad y, which decides the spacing between two widgets, horizontal and vertical also. In short, it is spacing between two lines and spacing between two columns. Okay, the possible options are first is column, give the number, the column number in which the widget is to be placed. The leftmost column is placed by 0. Leftmost column. Getting? See here. So this first column is considered as 0. Okay. And then row, the row number in which the widget is to be placed, the topmost row. This row is considered to be the topmost row. The topmost row is represented by 0. And then we have spacing, pad x, pad y. The spacing between one column and second column, this is pad x, and one row and next row, that is called pad y. Okay? So it represents the number of pixels to pad the widget outside the widget's boundary. Getting? So in short, you can say horizontal when two widgets are there. So that is pad x. Vertical two widgets, that is pad y. Okay. And just a simple example I have taken here. See. Now, in this case, what I've done, all the widgets which I've created, I've stored their references. First, I create the widget and store the reference. Because generally in such type of application, we will need the reference of that widget later. Like I want to handle submit. So on the click of that submit some action, so I need the reference. Then on the submit, I have to fetch their values. of these two text box. So I'll need their reference. So good practice is to create the widget, store their reference, create widget, store their reference. So you can check what I've done. First, I've created one label widget. I created one label widget who is the parent root. Root is means this main window. So you import library, create the main window. I told you the main window is the object of TK class. Set its title, set its geometry. Then first widget I have created, I've given name as LBL name. First widget, the text is name. Another widget that is this text box. Text box is of type entry. Text box is considered as an entry widget. Its parent is also root. One more label, okay, one more text box, and one button. And the text on that button is submit. Now all these five widgets are created, label, entry, and the submit button. Now you have to place them. See here, five widgets created, but you have not set its geometry manager.
Sir,
If
what
you
is the
don't
root?
set the
Okay, TK.
root means the parent of that widget. Who is the parent? This main window. See that main window I created, tk.tk. The main window is the object of tk class. Its reference is in root. And that root only becomes the parent of all this child widget. We have created five widgets, one label, one text box, another label, another text box, and this button. So these five widgets are the child widgets, which are placed inside this main window. So for all five, the parent is root. This root becomes the parent. But only placing these five widgets within that parent is not sufficient till you don't set their geometry manager. So you have to set the geometry manager. You can see if I don't set this, and I directly run the application. If I directly run this application, this won't be visible. You won't be able to see any of these widgets. So first I'm setting the geometry manager for first label using grid geometry manager. I'm giving row number 0, column number 0. So row 0, column 0 placed over there. Padding I have given 10, 5. So vertically 10 and horizontally 5. Then second, that entry widget. That entry widget I have placed in row 0, column 1. Row 0 only, column 1. Next label again, row 1, column 1. Getting? So, column 0, sorry. Row 1, column 0. Then this entry again, row 1, column 1. And last one, I'm placing it in row 3, column 1. Because row 3, column 0, I want to leave aside. Okay? This is row 0. This is row 1. Row 2 I have skipped. And row 3 I have come in column 1. Because this column 0 I don't want. So in column 1 I have placed. Getting, guys? And then enter in the main loop. Now you'll ask like how to handle submit and all. We are going to learn, guys. Now we are just learning about geometry manager. Then when we'll come to each widget, I'll tell you how to handle the click event and all. On the click, how to read these values. Like when I handle this click event, so I have to write a function and I have to set that whenever you are clicked, please call that function. So how to give that callback? They are called as callbacks, which you can write lambda functions also, if you remember basic Python. Okay. So you have to tell that on the click of this, please call this function. You have to give the name of the function and function you will define. So whenever you click on it, it will give call to that function. Then within that function, you have to read the values of that text box. So how to read all one by one we will discuss. Don't worry. Okay. If want quickly, I'll show you this widget also. Tkinter demo 3 I'll give. Okay. Here also some part I'll copy. The first part, importing the library, creating main window. Please don't get confused. What is root? Don't ask after so much time. After writing two, three program, root is the main window. You give any name to it. If you want to give W, R, parent, whatever name you give, it is the object name. But it should be the object of TK class only. So your main window is the object of TK class. And its reference I've collected in this. And this is going to act as a parent to all child widget. See, like in this example, 5 child widget. But for all 5, who is the parent? Root. So that all these 5 widgets will be placed inside that root. Whichever parent you give, in that it is placed. But only placing these widgets in the parent window doesn't work. You have to set their geometry manager also. Okay. So I'm copying this basic code. Okay. Here, if you want to give demo as grid manager demo or student info, suppose I'm giving grid manager demo as a title. Okay. I don't want this background color and all. Now I'm going to create each widget like LBL registration number. Okay, tk.label. Who is the parent of it? Root. And then the text I'll set as registration number. Okay. Then txt registration number. tk.entry. And only parent I'll give, no other parameters. It is just a blank text box. You're supposed to type within it. One more label I'll give for name. One is registration number and another is name. For example, tk.label again, parent is root and text is name colon. Then txt name, tk.entry. Entry is also one type of widget. All these types of widgets one by one we'll learn. We'll learn label, we'll learn entry, we'll learn button, checkbox, radio button, combo box, slider. Okay, as many five, six which are important, which are very important to create any basic GUI that I'll cover. Then you can explore. You can check, are there many more widgets? Okay. Here also parent is important. Creating only this child widget is of no use unless you give parent to it. You have to tell that this widget is to be added in which parent window. And again, only adding in the parent window is not sufficient till you don't set its geometry manager. So you have to set the geometry manager also. Now I'm creating one button called button submit. It will be of type button widget. Okay. Its parent is also root. Text I'll give as submit. Now widgets are created. Now we will set their geometry manager. So LBL registration dot grid, give row number, column number, padding if you want, give padding pad X 10, pad Y 10. It's up to you how much you can increase, decrease, and check. Okay. Then text box order doesn't matter. In any order, you can set their manager. What matters is the row number and the column number. So if I'm setting first label registration, next label name, okay, grid, row number. Your row number, column number matters. Like I'm giving column 0, pad X 10, pad Y 10. Then I'm taking entry, that is text registration dot grid. Here I'm giving row number as 0, but column number as 1, right? Then txt name dot grid. Here also row number 1 and column number 1. Okay. Next I'm putting button, right? So btn submit dot grid. And suppose I want to place it in row 3. So one row will be left blank. Okay. And column number 1. So row 3, column 0 also will be left blank. And then put your main window into main loop so that it will wait for you to do the interaction. Okay? See. Okay. Is it placing accordingly? This dimension unnecessarily too much you have given. So width 200 by 200 you can give. See. Or height you can decrease and width you can increase little bit. This is width and height. Okay. Can you see? It is placed in that way. Row number, column number, row number, column. Here you can type something, and on the click how to handle that, we'll be learning, don't worry. Okay. So when you create a button widget, there you have to write command equal to a name of the function. Don't call the function, only give the reference of the function. And that function you have to write in the beginning. So you'll define the function, and here you'll just give the name of the function. Why? Because it is not supposed to be called immediately. It is to be called only when you click on it. So whenever you click on it, it will give call to that function. How to handle, we will learn. Okay? And the third manager is there, that is place manager. We'll discuss about this also quickly. Then we can dive into each widgets one by one. Okay? So can you give me quick confirmation about grid widget?
Yes, sir.
Sure, quite easy it is. Grid is more
Yes, sir.
easy comparative to pack. Okay? Now what does place do? It will place your component at the exact location what you give. That is the x coordinate and the y coordinate. This is like absolute placing. Like in your main window, at which location you want to place the widget. That absolute location you can give. Okay. So whatever x value you give and y value you give, exactly at that place the widget is put. Therefore, it is called as place. Placing the widget exactly at that place. Here also there is a padding between one widget and another. You can leave the spacing. But here the placement is done absolutely. Absolute placement means the exact location. Relative and absolute. There's concept called relative also. No? Relative means you're taking the placement with reference to someone. Like when I say my house is 200 meters from the station. So it is a relative location. Why? Because you are taking a reference as station, and from station you are telling 200. But when I tell my house is 6,324 kilometer from the North Pole, so North Pole is considered as zero, and from there the measurement is done. So that is absolute, exact value I'm telling. Okay. So here how the placement is, what the parameters are, one by one we'll learn. So the place method organizes the widgets at the specific x and y coordinate. Exact x value, y value, what you give, exactly at that x, that y, the coordinates will be placed. Okay. And for that, what you have to pass the x and the y position. Widget dot place, give that x, give the y. The possible options are this one first, that is standard, X value, Y value. This will be considered as that much pixels to leave from left and that much pixels to leave from top, because the origin starts from the left top corner of your window, leaving the title. Okay, so this will be considered as 0, 0. Okay, 0, 0. So as we move to the right, X is increasing. As we move down, Y is increasing. As I move down, Y is increasing. As I move right, X is increasing. Okay? So it refers to the horizontal and vertical offset in the pixels. Horizontal offset means you got no? How much space in X and how much space for Y. Okay, as an example, I'm taking the same name and registration number which I gave, right? The same, but I'm placing them according to my XY position. So they are getting placed exactly at that place, whichever position you are giving. Okay, so example is same. I've created one label widget, added in the root window. Root is created. Root means the parent window. Then I've given the title to the parent window. Then the geometry I've set. Then I created 5 widgets. All these 5 widgets I've added in the main window. I've given their parent. Who is the parent? That root. Now the placement. So you're placing. First label is placed at 50 in X and 50 in Y. So from left 50, top 50, their label. Okay. Then this entry widget from X 110 and Y 50 only. This is how much and this is how much. That is 50, 50. Now this will be how much? 110, 50. From here 110 and from top 50. Okay? Then the second label. Again for that also X, from X direction 50 and from Y direction 100. Total 100 and here 50. And this registration number X 110 and Y 100. Okay? And last is a submit button X 50 and top 150. From top 150 and X 50. So at that place the button is placed. This way they are getting placed at the appropriate XY position. And put your application in the main loop. Okay? So you can try doing this also. See here, quickly just I'll copy some part from here. Tkinter demo 4.py. From this, I'll take all this part as it is. Okay. Import the library, then create main window, set the title of the main window, like suppose I'm giving place manager demo, then whatever the dimensions, like 300 by 200. Then I'm creating all 5 widgets. Okay. One label, one text box, label, text box, and a button. All these widgets are created and they're placed in the root. Now I have to decide the position by using place algorithm, place manager. So lbl regn dot place x coordinates. Suppose I'm giving place, not back. So x I'm giving 50, y I'm giving 50. Suppose x 50, y 50. So from left 50, from top 50. Okay. Then we will take this text box registration dot place. X I'm taking 110 and Y I'm taking 50. Why Y for both 50? Because they both are in the same line. As they both are in the same line, Y is going to be same, only X is changing. ठीक है? Okay, this is done. Now coming to the next label, LBL name dot place. Now for the second line also X is going to be 50 only. Y we have to change. So Y I'm taking 100 and txt name dot place. Here X I'll take 110 and Y as 100. ठीक है? And last button. Now button where you want to place, you decide. Like here, button is placed at 50, 150. These three are come. Here little bit here, so you can change X and C. Like suppose I'm taking X as 50 and Y given is 150, suppose 180. Doesn't matter. Whatever you give, it will be placed at that place. Root dot main loop. Okay, check. I'll run this fourth application. See, accordingly, as I gave 180, it has come too much down, right? Instead of
Sir,
180, if I
everything
take,
coming in a fixed length. So text box size,
huh,
I want to increase it. Uh, with text box width, I need to increase it. So in case,
text box, then you have to change its font. This won't matter. If the text box you want to change its font, automatically it will increase. When you set the font of each widget font you'll set, that labels and all will increase their sizes. This only you're telling, na? Like this one. So these sizes will automatically increase if
no
you are
label
changing
size as
its
well as text box size.
text box
Le-
also. Both
yeah.
font you have to set.
Uh,
When you set the font, they will automatically get modified. Getting? I'll show one example of font also we will set. Okay, so this part is clear. Now X you can take little bit ahead, like you can go with 80. So button will be seen little ahead. Here it has come. Like suppose for button, I'm setting the font as Arial. Okay, and the font size, suppose I'm giving 15. Accordingly, it will change. And there is another provision to make it bold, italic. Now, can you see? The button is automatically increased in that proportion according to the font. The same way, if you give font to everyone, font can be given to everyone. Okay, so you can check everyone is increased in that. But then, as this is the absolute position, so it gets overlapped because as the font is increased, so you can change its x direction of this widget. You make the x little bit more, like 150, 150. So now it is coming little bit ahead of it. Okay, can you see? So the spacing is automatically changing. See here, as the font is change of this, previously when font was not, it was coming in the default font, whatever the default font and size was. Okay, so managers are clear. Now we have to start discussing each widgets one by one, like button widget, entry widget, label widget, list box, combo box. Okay. So all one by one these widgets we'll discuss. Now for today we will take a pause here only. Just go through these three managers, that is pack manager, then grid manager, and the place manager. Because now we only have learned about the managers geometry manager. That is, it is deciding where the widget will be placed within your main window. It decides the placement of your widgets. Okay? Now, in the next session, one by one, each widgets we'll discuss. We'll discuss about button widget. We will discuss about label widget, entry widget, and then we will write some programs also based on each widgets. Okay?